Hello and welcome to Women of Worth Wednesday. I'm GANEL-LYN. I am your host and also the guest for today. I love being with you, and it's starting to feel like fall here in Utah. So I have my pumpkin spice, wrong side, pumpkin spice candle going, a scarf on. It's a little toasty outside still, but I'm getting into the feel of the season. Please comment where you're watching from if you're watching this live, and if not on replay, welcome to Women of Worth Wednesday. I am grateful to be sharing a story with you that actually didn't happen to me, but it was communicated to me by someone that heard me speak, and the message I shared helped her in this situation. And so I told her, you may hear your story on Women of Worth. Today's the day. If my friend is tuning in, she will recognize this story, and hopefully from the title, the rude behavior that she encountered and how she handled it. So I spoke in her stake and talked a lot about connection and how we really are always interacting with people that are struggling, fighting through their own pain, have their own stories, are projecting their pain onto others, and sharing this world human experience with imperfect people. We are imperfect, they are imperfect, we're bumping up against each other. Our kids are coming home grumpy after school and we're tired. I just had that experience yesterday where my daughter was stressed and I was hangry, and our interchange wasn't charitable, it was frustrating. And we have those experiences all the time at the grocery store, at work, wherever we're out and about, where we encounter people that are just not kind, or they're rude, or their behavior is offensive to us. And the natural man instinct is to fight back, to defend, to attack. And so I shared some message that helped stick in this sweet sister's mind and heart. And fast forward quite a few months, she was on a trip with her family to Disneyland. I think it was actually Disney World, but anyways, one of those big theme parks. And she said, she shared this with me just last week. She said, thank you for sharing this message because it really helped me this summer. So she said, we were at this park and I was sitting by a group of individuals that were super offensive. They were talking inappropriate. They were using foul language. The spirit was not in abundance. Let's just say that. She just felt irritated and triggered by how they were talking and behaving. And at the moment this was happening, she was really grateful her kids weren't in earshot because it was so disruptive and distracting to her. And maybe you've been in that situation where you're in public and the people near you are acting in a way that is really, really triggering. And she says, I kept getting to the point where I just wanted to like say something to them, correct them, tell them what they need to change about their behavior. And she said, and I just was trying to pray through it for some charity and to know how to handle myself. And I kind of just let it go. And I was grateful my kids weren't there because that would have made it even more awkward. Well, she was in a situation a day later where she was in line for a ride. These same individuals, which, have you ever had that happen where you're at an event or you're at a park or you're at a theme park and you keep running into individuals even though you don't know them? Well, this is what happened. She says this time she was with her children. They were waiting in line, and this group of individuals were just right behind her in line. Their behavior was 10 times worse than it had been the day before. This time they were acting inappropriately and talking inappropriately in a way that was pretty offensive, and her kids were there. And she said, I was just about to turn around and just say something kind of abrupt and correct them because I was not happy. And I'm not saying that that's not appropriate to and as a respectful way as possible, say, you know, can you please be careful how you're talking? There's children here. That's not what the point of this story is. But she said, in that moment, the message I had given months before about connection and about really seeing people's spirits as maybe Heavenly Father sees them versus the bad behavior we often see, came to her mind. And she said, I bumped into them on purpose, on accident, just so I could start a conversation. And I apologized, and they responded really kindly. And then I asked them a question about the ride. I said, have you been on this ride before? What do you think? Connection. She just asked them a question. And they went on to tell her about the ride, tell them about themselves. She said, we had the most delightful conversation ever. She said, I was so sad when we finally got on the ride and we had to part ways, because I realized, oh my, I am connecting with them, and they are people and their behavior maybe wasn't what I appreciated, but they have a story, and she said they were just so fun to talk to. And I just really enjoyed it. And I realized that a few days before, if I had not just been so irritated, I could have turned to them and striked up a conversation about what they were doing or eating or whatever. And she said, and I missed that opportunity because I was in so much frustration and judgment. Okay. I love that story. And she was so kind to say that something I had shared with her had stuck with her and helped her in that moment go to connection instead of total frustration. And I just think, as women of worth and men of great worth, especially as we parent, it is so easy to respond in kind with unkindness. So when someone is acting in bad behavior, we want to respond with some bad behavior. We're frustrated. We want to correct them. And the definition of charity is being generous and loving when the other person doesn't deserve it. And that's why the gift of charity is such an important Christ-like attribute that we have to pray for, because it's not easy. When our kids come home and have a total meltdown, or we're exhausted and we make this amazing dinner and they all complain about it, and they're irritated because they don't want to have the green beans or whatever that is, we don't want to be charitable. We don't want to be kind. And so my invitation is to consider how we can release the power of God in those moments and not the power of the natural man in those moments. It brought to mind, I always want to share a scripture connection with you. And there were a lot that I had come to mind. Now, listen, work with me on this one a little bit. This one, I think on the surface, looks like Nephi responded to his brothers with a poof, poof. Instead, I want you to consider that in the first Nephi chapter 7, this is where they've had all of these horrible interchanges. And Laman and Lemuel once again are trying to hurt Nephi, throw him into the sea, kill him, tie him up, all those things they keep doing. Really unhealthy behavior in this family. But I love this verse where Nephi is talking to them and he's trying to help his brothers like soften. And they're not softening. They're just being irritated. And it says that it came to pass that Nephi said many things unto my brethren, insomuch that they were confounded and could not contend against me. Neither durst they lay their hands upon me. So this is when Nephi is also there with his younger brother Sam. And all of this is happening. And Nephi is standing up for him. And he says, and neither durst they lay their hands upon me, nor touch me with their fingers, even for the space of many days. Now they durst not do this, lest they should wither before me. So powerful was the Spirit of God, and thus it was wrought upon them. And so as Nephi's brothers are experiencing Nephi telling them, stop with this bad behavior, they also, if you remember in the story, touch him, and they're shocked. Now, I think when we hear this story, we think, oh gosh, if I just had like a magic sword that if people touched it, they would get shocked and then they would be nice to me. But what if you consider that the power of God that was with Nephi, that shocked his brothers when they touched him, is the power of God that we can carry with us? That gift of charity is a power, and it's a power that God can give us. And so as we go through our week or our days and we're tired and we're frustrated, or we're encountering people that are having really bad behavior, I want to invite all of us to consider inviting the Spirit of God to be with us, so that when people are around us, they are shocked by our kindness, shocked by our good behavior, and shocked by the light of Christ that they feel from us. I'm going to take this invitation into my own life. Ironically, at the rec center where this sweet sister shared this story with me, because I often run into her there is a member of the staff that works in the janitorial department of the rec center. And he is grouchy. He is frustrated with people. I often see him clean the glass doors and then everyone touches them. He's vacuuming and everyone's ignoring him, including myself. I'm in my own head and I walk right where he's trying to work. Anyways, I have tried to be kind to him and say hi to him and to extend kindness towards him. It has been rejected. Now, obviously, Nephi's brothers learned the lesson pretty fast, because then when they went to grab him, they were shocked. And then after that, they were kind, because they remembered that they would be shocked if they did this. So I am going to continue to try to shock, in a kind way, this this individual who works at the rec center when I see him. And I keep trying to find him, and I keep trying to find ways in which I can extend kindness to him in a shocking way. And so I'm going to invite you for that challenge this week. Maybe you're at the grocery store and the person helping you is grumpy. Can you shock them with a compliment, or strike up a conversation like my friend did at Disneyland? Can you respond to your family when they come home tonight and they're irritated or stressed with some love? Shock them with that. Can we shock each other with so much charity that this ripples out? Because I guarantee you that if this friend had turned to the people in line at Disneyland and really reprimanded them, which is what she wanted to do, and she did it because she was feeling frustrated, because she was feeling protected of her kids, they would have gone forward and maybe been equally irritated with the next people that they encountered in line at the next line that they were standing in. And so wouldn't it be great if we shocked each other with love, with charity, and with kindness? Now, as I always say on these messages, I'm not advocating for zero boundaries. God is a loving God because he's boundaried. He has boundaries. So I'm not saying you put up with bad behavior that's abusive. I'm saying to you, it is so easy to respond irritation with irritation. And instead of looking at the story of Nephi being shocking because he had the power of God that literally zapped his brothers, I'm going to include shocking each other with love, shocking each other with charity, shocking each other with generous assumptions that all of us are doing the best we can. All of us are fighting some big battles. All of us are. And on the outside, we don't often see what's going on in the inside. And when people are hurt, they hurt people, right? So they project that hurt on. So I hope that helps you as you go through your day with others around you that you may love or may not know at all. And let's start a revolution of shocking each other with kindness and love. I thank you to my friend that shared this story and gave me even a little bit of credit. I think that all the credit goes to her because of her good heart. The Spirit touched her with something I said. It stayed with her. It changed her heart, and she acted upon that prompting, which I think is just wonderful. That's what the gospel is about changing us. And thank you for joining me here again at Women of Worth Wednesday on High Five Live. We love this community. We love this family that has been built all over the world. We love that you share your comments with us and how these videos impact your life. We love that you keep sharing it with people you love so you can share the light of the gospel with them, with these everyday stories and experiences that we're all having. I think it's so great when we uplift each other with faith, and that's our why here at Women of Worth Wednesday every week, as we bring guests with stories of great worth to you. And we hope that you'll continue to join us each Wednesday. And thank you again.